I'm not gonna sugarcoat it for you. You hate Maven Black-Briar. That's why you clicked on this video. She is corrupt, morally evil, and makes the lives of everyone around her miserable. And she committed the worst sin of all, being rude to you. Naturally, you want to soul trap her and then decapitate her with your most monstrous blade and enchant her soul to a fork which you shove up the rear end of an unsuspecting Falmer. But, alas, you cannot, for she is essential and cannot be killed, only knocked to the ground as she shrugs off blows from the biggest warhammer and mightiest great axes like she's the freaking ebony warrior. So while you cannot slay her in the name of righteous justice, there must be some other ways to take her down to the point where she wishes she was dead. Right? Hello, my fellow hirelings of House Telvanni. I'm Neloth, and this is your step-by-step guide to ruin the Black-Briar family, especially Maven, by destroying her sources of money, weakening her political and economic influence, and eviscerating her family line. You know, totally normal and sane methods for destroying your enemies in a way that would make those in House Telvanni proud and Daedric princes scream. And I'll be going over every possible way to take down Maven no matter how dark. So if there's a step you don't want to follow, then don't. I'm not your fucking daddy. So with all that being said, let us break the will and life's work of Maven goddamn Black-Briar. Now let's start small by talking to one of the employees of Maven Black-Briar, Romlyn Dreth, a descendant of Vaelin Dreth, the first person we meet in Oblivion who happens to be a massive asshole. Anyways, Romlyn works at the meadery but also has a side hustle of stealing kegs of Black-Briar mead and selling them to travelers and innkeepers for a much cheaper price, undercutting Maven and harming her bottom line. Romlyn will even sell you bottles of mead for only 10 septims. So one way to simply harm Maven is to just buy a couple bottles from Romlyn, which we will save for the end of this video to toast Maven's downfall. We are also able to assist Romlyn in delivering a keg of mead to Wilhelm at the Villamere Inn in Iverstead. Just be sure not to tell the manager of Maven's establishment in Darin, as he'll put a stop to all this righteous profit siphoning. Now, this is a good start, but Maven is filthy fucking rich, so it won't hurt her profits by much, so we need to do more. Much more. If you spoke to Romlyn, chances are you've already been inside the meadery, so take this opportunity to steal everything that isn't bolted down and pickpocket all of the employees, especially in Darin. This won't do much to Maven's profits, but cause her a massive headache and force her to spend money and time to restock shelves and replace equipment. And if you pickpocketed all of the employees, their morale will be much lower, leading to lower productivity and therefore lower profits. Now let's keep this thieving spree going by breaking into the Black-Briar house in Riften and doing the same thing, stealing everything from gold and gems to bread and forks. There is also a high likelihood that the entire Black-Briar family, with one notable exception, will be having a family meal inside, so take this opportunity blessed to us by the thief cat god Regine himself and pickpocket each and every one of them, cleaning out their pockets. When you finish cleaning out rooms and pockets that'll put Mr. Clean to shame, you should go meander on over to the Bee and Barb, the inn located in Riften, and speak to a Breton who refuses to accept his baldness, named Louis Letrush. Letrush made a deal with that Black-Briar who couldn't make it to family dinner night, named Sibbi Black-Briar, to buy a horse named Frost. However, Sibbi is currently in jail for murder, and the horse isn't exactly his, and he will tell you that Frost is at the Black-Briar Lodge outside of the city. Make sure to fleece him for more money, and before heading out, be sure to ask Sibbi how he ended up in jail, as he will tell you a story about how his bride-to-be named Svidi sent her brother to attack Sibbi for being unfaithful, and that he totally defended himself. Sibbi says that he wants revenge and will gladly pay you for any information regarding her location so that he can send someone else to kill her. Keep this in mind as we will come back to this little quest later. So now we are going to do something really scary, and that is to go outside. The reason we are doing something that gamers and Stormcloak lovers fear is because we need to go to the Black-Briar Lodge to steal that horse Frost from Maven herself. While we are here, we should also take this opportunity to slaughter Maven's security force that patrol the lodge and do what we did to Maven's house and meadery and steal everything that isn't nailed down. Make sure to also strip the guards of their valuable steel plate armor and sell it to a blacksmith, as we don't want Maven to get her grubby hands on them in an attempt to recuperate her losses. Give Frost to Letrush, or kill him and keep the horse for yourself. It doesn't really matter, since either way we are hurting Maven. Just be sure not to tell Maven about Letrush's deal with Sibbi, as we don't want Maven to take Frost back. Since we are touching grass, we might as well take in the fresh air and go on a hike, which may lead us to Ivarstead. Since we are now in Ivarstead, we might as well head to the inn so we can grab a drink of Hunting Brew mead and listen to the music sung by the local bard. However, the local bard, Linley Starstrung, is actually the ex-fiancé of Sibbi Black-Briar, Svidi herself. When we get the truth out of her, she will tell us that Sibbi threatened to kill her when she found out that he was being unfaithful. Svidi was scared and told her brother Wulfr, who decided to talk to Sibbi, whereupon Sibbi murdered Wulfr even though he was unarmed. I'm inclined to believe Svidi, as Sibbi, is an asshole who is part of the biggest crime family east of Skyrim. However, regardless of if you believe her or not, we will want to return to Sibbi and lie to him. We will want to tell Sibbi that Svidi is totally fleeing Skyrim into Morrowind. This will cause Sibbi to waste Black-Briar coin, hiring trackers and assassins on a wild goose chase. So not only do we hurt the Black-Briars more, but we also saved a damsel in distress. Rumor around town says that Maven is in good with two criminal organizations. The Dark Brotherhood, who are a group of assassins, and the Thieves Guild, whose area of expertise should be pretty fucking obvious. Now, when we ransacked Maven's house, you may have broken into a room where Maven was performing the Black Sacrament to contact the Dark Brotherhood. And a note where Maven is whining about how the Dark Brotherhood hasn't made contact with her. This leads me to believe that Maven's connection with the Dark Brotherhood is not as strong as we once believed, so why not join them? Doing so will allow us to assassinate some of Maven's investors when we get to a certain quest. This quest is Bound Until Death, a mission where we kill Vittoria Vici on her freaking wedding day. However, we have a few other targets for the sake of this video. Asgeir Snowshod, the not-so-soon-to-be husband of Vittoria, and Asgeir's father, Volwulf Snowshod. These two individuals, who are essential until the quest, regularly invest in Maven's financial businesses, Asgeir in her meadery and Volwulf in weapon shipments. Killing these individuals will remove a great deal of coin from Maven's coffers, forcing her to find other investors to pour money into her diabolical schemes. However, Asgeir is pretty chill, so if you want to keep him alive, you could just avoid killing him, or just eliminate the entire Dark Brotherhood, so Maven doesn't even have the slight chance of using them as an asset. Now, if you remember before, I talked about the Thieves Guild, and sadly there is no way to kill all of them unlike the Dark Brotherhood. But fear not, as we can actually do the most damage to Maven by entering the belly of the beast, and getting close to Maven by talking to Brynjolf and joining the guild she supports. See, when we join the Thieves Guild, our first mission will be to break into Golden Glow Estate and steal the deed, Golden Glow Estate being the place where Maven gets her honey to make her vile Black-Briar mead. This will allow us to cause a ton of damage because we have a few side tasks to perform as we break in. One of the side tasks is to burn only 3 beehives to send a message, and the other is to try and avoid killing Erengoth, the wood elf who runs the estate. Naturally, we are going to want to do the complete opposite to hurt Maven's profits exponentially. Instead of burning 3 beehives down, we will want to burn all of them, as this will make Maven lose a shit ton of money and be forced to import honey elsewhere. We will also want to kill Erengoth and all of his guards while we are at it. And yes, we will also want to take everything in the estate that isn't nailed down and strip the guards and Erengoth of all their belongings to sell to other merchants. When we return to Brynjolf, he will be upset and refuse to give us a reward, but that will be okay, because Maven's suffering and financial loss is all the reward we need. Afterwards, for some reason, Maven will want to speak to us privately and send us on another mission. Not sure why she wants to send her #1 enemy on a mission to aid in her financial schemes, but let's not look a gift horse in the mouth, and instead try to find a way to fuck it all up for her. Maven wants us to talk to a man named Malice, who then wants us to talk to a guy named Sabjorn, the owner of Black-Briar Meadery, and a fierce competitor of Maven's, who's made her lose a lot of coin. Malice has a plan to sabotage Sabjorn and give Black-Briar Meadery to Maven, with Malice running the place for her and becoming super wealthy. However, Malice wants us to poison a skeever nest that's been infesting the meadery and also use the same poison on a vat of mead, which will be used in a tasting with the captain of the Whiterun Guard, Caius, which will convince Caius to lock Sabjorn in prison and throw away the key for distributing unclean mead. We will be forced to poison the skeever nest, but there are no requirements for killing the skeevers themselves, and a local madman that lives down in the caves named Hamlin, who has been attempting to breed an army of skeevers to take over Whiterun. You should avoid killing the king of skeevers and his army, as this will cause Malice to have to waste more coin hiring more mercenaries to take care of him. And maybe Hamlin will grow so powerful that he'll take over the meadery and destroy Maven's profits even further. While Sabjorn is getting framed, be sure to steal all of the Black-Briar Meadery in the building, as we don't want Maven to get her grubby hands on them, as she's probably just gonna slap a Black-Briar sticker on the bottles and call it a day. Oh, and also, steal everything else that isn't nailed down. You will also want to go through the rest of the Thieves Guild quests to make sure the guild is powerful enough to not need Maven, being able to have influential contacts from all over Skyrim, and not just be beholden to Riften. Not only should you go through the whole Thieves Guild questline, but you should also attempt to go through the main questline until you get to Season Unending. This is the quest where you negotiate a truce between the Stormcloaks and Imperials, and for the sake of the video, nothing will matter more than giving the Imperials control of Riften, as this will make Maven Black-Briar the Jarl of Riften. But Neloth, you may ask, why would I want to give Maven complete authority over the city, increasing her political and economic power? Well, do not worry, as right after, we will want to break the truce we worked so hard to create and join the Stormcloaks. Freedom of worship? Freedom from Thalmor supremacy? I don't give a shit about that. I just want to destroy Maven's reputation further by making her an exile in her own city. Now, unlike the other Jarls, Maven won't be thrown into the basement of the Blue Palace with the other Imperial-leaning Jarls, and instead will still be seen roaming around Riften. However, understand that Maven had the ear of Jarl Layla Lawgiver and could subtly control her political and economic policies. But if Maven temporarily overthrows Layla, this trust will be broken and Layla will be less inclined to listen to Maven, ruining her political reputation. And if a Stormcloak-controlled Skyrim is aware that Maven threw in with the mongrel dogs of the Empire, those mead-swilling rebels will avoid Black-Briar Mead and might even start a boycott. And the new High King Ulfric could also impose tariffs on Maven as revenge, ruining her even further. It's also nice to give her a crumb of power and then immediately take it away, making her sad and jealous and other emotions. Now we have reached the more sadistic part of this video, the part where we start murdering a ton of people. Mephala and Sithis will be more than pleased. We will first want to take this homicidal train to the Black-Briar Meadery, where we will want to kill every single employee with the exception of Romlyn Dreth. This will completely stagnate the flow of mead at the meadery, leading to a halt in profits. However, maybe you are uncomfortable with killing a bunch of quote-unquote innocent civilians, so if you want, you can just limit your murder to Indarin, the brewmaster of the meadery, who has been squeezing the workers for as much profit as he can. Killing Indarin will not only give the workers a great deal of breathing room, but will also disorganize the meadery, leading to, you guessed it, a decrease in profits. Now we will want to take out the top players and eliminate certain members of the Black-Briar family that are not essential, specifically Sibbi and Ingen. Sadly, we can't kill Hemming, the heir to Maven's business, or Maul, the bodyguard of Maven, since they are tied to the Civil War quest and are, essential. On a side note, I hate that you can't kill ex-Jarls and their entourage after completing the Civil War questline. It just makes no sense why they are still essential, since the majority of them no longer serve a purpose in any quests. Anyways, Sibbi is a Black-Briar that can be killed, and based on what he did to Svidi, he got what's coming to him. Svidi sends her regards. There is also Ingen, who doesn't actually want anything to do with the Black-Briar business, and is far more interested in alchemy. Because of this, you might think that killing her would be immoral and unnecessary, but there are multiple reasons why I would say you should kill her. First reason, her death would likely deliver a serious blow to Maven's morale since Ingen is her daughter. And we are out here to destroy Maven financially and mentally, so it does work out. The second reason is maybe Maven would one day finally convince Ingen to take a more prominent role in the family business, a potential we cannot allow. And the third reason, Ingen shows signs of being a psychopath, as she uses many of her poisons to kill small animals for her experiments. This would make her a phenomenal hireling in House Telvanni, however we don't have any openings available, so just use some poisons and dump her body in the canal. So congratulations! We have not only shattered Maven's entire business, but we have ruined her family as well, making it far more difficult for her to conduct proper business. But there is one last recommendation I have. Since Maven's business is shattered, and we also destroyed Honningbrew Meadery in the process, there is a large open market in Skyrim for selling alcohol. You could just sell all the mead you stole from Maven and Sabjorn and call it a day, but I have a more permanent solution that will require the use of modding. And that is by downloading the Honeystrand Meadery mod, or any mod really, that allows you to open a meadery and start dominating the markets that Maven has lost. This will basically be the last nail in the coffin for Maven, because she will never ever be able to regain the markets and power she lost, as it is all going to you now. So let's make a toast. Drink those flasks of mead you bought from Romlyn Dreth, and give praise to us, to the downfall of Maven Black-Briar and her foul business. May her name never be spoken of again for as long as we draw breath on Tamriel and beyond. And that's all I wrote. A video where we go over every single way to hurt Maven, no matter how small or psychotic, and systematically destroy her meadery business and just her life in general. This video was inspired by a Reddit post made about 6 years ago that I really liked when I was younger, and I really wanted to capture all of that essence in this video, so a big shout out to that guy. You know who is also a great inspiration to me? My beloved channel members whose contribution truly motivates me. And those members are Mirak, Sovdark, Conarunda, Nork, Will Ernst, The Proud Prince, Deadpool Maoista, Skooma Addict, JJ Ensid, Grud, Ranger McKay, Milani Stilla, and Batman Man. And if you would like to see my videos earlier by either 24 hours or even 3 days, then consider becoming a member. All members get early access, and Oathman and Mouths will get shoutouts at the beginning or end of almost every video. So with all that being said, make sure to like the like button, like the subscribe button, and like the bell notification down below to be updated on future videos. And I will see you whenever the fuck I decide to upload again. Austel Vani be with you.
Please, O hero of Skyrim, I shall be ever so grateful.